Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, if you can hear me. Okay, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. If you can hear me, can you please put the letter Y in the question box? And I'll know you can hear me. Okay, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. If you can hear me, please put the letter Y in the question box. Okay, great. Okay, thanks, David and Dana. Appreciate that. And good evening, everybody. So it's got off to a rocky start, but we are here, and good to see you all here tonight. And we're going to do a few things here. So if you have any questions, of course, that's what we get together for. So if you have any questions at all about something that you're trying to do, please go ahead and put your question here in the box, and I will take that question and we will go from there. Otherwise, I have a few things I'm going to cover, but those things come second to your questions. Okay, so they come second to your questions. So once again, if you have questions, go ahead and write them there in the box. And yeah, and I'm going to, while you do that, I'm going to kind of pull up my presentation here. And we'll start that process. Okay, so once again, are there any questions, anything you're trying to do that you'd like some assistance on, or you'd like to have a question answered? I'm happy to try to answer that. So barring that, feel free to go ahead and write in any questions you might have as we go along, and then I will kind of stop what I'm doing to answer your question. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, so hopefully you can now see my presentation here. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the goal today, and I'll get into what that means here in just a minute. So tonight, I'm going to have you. I'm actually going to give you a copy of the PowerPoint here. Let me go ahead and give you a link to it. And what we're going to do is I'll go ahead and let's see, make it available. Let's see, I'll make it available. And we will put it at let's see. I'm going to go ahead and I'll go ahead and zip it up here and make it easy for you to download. We'll zip it up there, and I'll just put it at, we'll put it at, all right, so I'm going to give you the link here in the window. Let's see, Jerry, you should be able to see me now here in the regular room here. Okay, so let's see. There's a handout. Okay, that didn't work all that well. Let's try that again. I'm going to give you that handout again. I'll give you a better URL. We'll just say webby.zip. And I will give you a new URL, be a little shorter, a little shorter than that ugly one there. So we'll make the we'll make the handout available at the plrshow.com/webby/webby.zip. Okay, so once again, let's see if I can make that clickable here in the box. It'll be the plrshow.com/webby/webby.zip. Okay, so hopefully you can get a handle on that now, and we're going to go ahead and just get started here. So once again, if you're listening by archive, you can get the download from the plrshow.com/webby/webby.zip. And I will try to put a link inside of the replay video. So we want to start with your questions. So if you don't have any questions, one of the things I want to make you aware of is that I am going to be doing Genius software training next week, and I'm going to start with Clockwork Funnels on Monday, and I'll probably go all week. So if you have missed anything that I've done on Genius software, whether it's Genius Trainer Pro, Webinar Fusion Pro, or Genius Marketing Pro, I will be doing that, and I'll be doing that all next week. So so make sure that you are signed up. Make sure you're getting my updates. If you are not getting email from me right now or these days, you can go to the plrshow.com. And there is a sign up form there. So just go to the plrshow.com. Make sure you're getting my emails, and then you'll hear about the Clockwork Funnels training on Monday. And then I'll be doing the rest of Genius software probably for the next 3 or 4 days. I think I can cover everything within within a couple of days. Okay, so let's see. So Natu, thanks for the question. Can I read this out loud? You let me know if I can read your question out loud. It might be helpful to everybody. Then I'll go ahead and take that question. I do want to tell you a little bit about the resale rights offer that I put in my email for tomorrow. It's a little different, and I want to take about 5 minutes and kind of tell you what's going on with it, why I'm behind it. It is a course, and it is a course where I think Mike and Brett went and found somebody who's having some success creating courses where they're not doing full-blown courses the way I would do. And I know I kind of talk about, creating 10 videos, creating 15 videos, pretty much what I do. And there are people who are actually doing this where they're creating 1 or 2 videos at a time, and they're placing it on some of the platforms, and then they're actually generating income from those videos. As a matter of fact, one of the things is that this the videos that they're doing are not in the make money online niche, and that's what the big part is. So for those of you who have some experience in places other than make money online, you'll be able to take this course and actually do it. The other thing you'll be able to do is that you'll be able to resell the course, and they've got a lot of proof in it, so it's going to be kind of an easy course to resell. Now, it's not going to be priced at wholesale the way most courses are, but there's going to be a launch price available. I think there's going to be an early bird tomorrow, and then there will be a webinar at 10 a.m. I did an interview with Mike at the plrshow.com/Mike. Go ahead and listen to that interview, because Mike is telling you about what the course is going to be about. I guess the guy went and got his girlfriend. She put some courses up there on how to make an apple crisp. I think she's up to $276. I think she got $100 right away. I guess they know how to figure out how you can get started. You can make $100 right away, regardless of what your video is. And then she's kind of generating some income after that. So if you've been kind of struggling to kind of get your business going online, and you want to create some videos and you don't mind putting them on this platform, learning the process, then that's going to be for you. That's in the plrshow.com/Mike. That's going to be tomorrow at 10 a.m. is the webinar, and I think it launches at 11. So that's about all like that. Any questions about that, feel free to go ahead and put it there in the box. So Natu, let's see. It said you have Mail X, and it doesn't connect to your programs. You got MailChimp. Is it possible to look at MailChimp, hook MailChimp everywhere, but you need to capture leads and then transfer everything to MailX? Yes and no. What I will say to you about that is that what you're going to be doing is you're going to be capturing your leads in MailChimp. Yep. And then you're going to export those leads into a CSV file. And then you're going to upload that CSV file to your new autoresponder. That is something that's commonly done. I know that this year, even Aweber started to allow people to take or import their leads into Aweber. So it is something that most autoresponders are doing. But yes, you can do that. You can, as long as MailX has the ability for you to import leads through a CSV file, you can do that. Right. So the answer to that is yes. I'm not familiar with MailX per se. I think that's the one that was sold a few weeks ago. But you can do that. Yes, not to. So if you have any other questions about that, let me know. But the answer to that question is yes. All right. Any other questions? Any other questions? Okay. So tonight I do want to talk about the goal and the theory of constraints. Right. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this thing that Paul Counts is doing. And there's a reason for that. And because it's going to be pretty important once you understand what I'm going to be kind of training you on here tonight. Okay, great. I'm glad that helps you not to. All right. So. Okay, so again, interrupt me if you have questions. I'm going to start this. I'm going to start this right now. Okay, so I do have a personal business philosophy, right? And it goes into just about everything that I do. It goes into how I buy stuff. It goes into how I approach, what I'm going to produce. It goes into how I approach affiliate marketing. It goes into just about everything. It probably at this point, now it didn't do this before. It really even goes into, it goes to how I choose partners. And now even if I decide to go to a conference, right? So it is my business philosophy. And what it does is it really does give me some discipline and focus in what I'm trying to do. And I think it'll help you if you understand it. I'm gonna explain it to you now. It was introduced to me in graduate school, and the book is by a scientist. His name is Elihu Goldratt, and he is a scientist that took his theory and applied it to marketing and manufacturing. So this is a scientific theory. It's been applied to marketing and manufacturing, and it's classic. So one of the first things that you do when you get your MBA, you go to a class. At some point, they're going to give you the book called The Goal, and you're going to have to read it. And it's for different classes. Sometimes it's for management. Sometimes it's for operations. Whatever the case is, you typically always have to read The Goal, regardless of where you go to graduate school, in business, any place in the country. And and those of you who are on the call, you've already gotten your MBA or you're involved in MBA, you probably already know that. You probably already read The Goal. If you haven't already, you probably will. And I will say this: the theory went way over my head, right? So when I read the book, I kind of got through it, and it went over my head before I got into internet marketing. And that's mainly because trying to apply it to a large corporation, and I never worked in a factory before. And although I understood what's happening, I really just did not get it, did not click to me until I started doing internet marketing, and I figured out how universal this theory really is. And here's what's important to you, and this is why you want to understand it. How many of you on this call right now, you've either thought at some time or you think right now? How many of you right now, if you've either thought at one time or you think it right now, that you have what people call shiny object syndrome or information overload, right? How many of you all have either thought that or you think that right now? If you have, please put the number 1 in the question box. And this is the reason why I say this a lot. And I haven't taken the time to really explain it. I don't even know I'm going to have fully time to explain it tonight, but you don't, more than likely, especially when it comes to internet marketing and business. right? And so here's why I'm going to say that. Um, the goal, um, the author uses a story, right? He uses a story form to talk about something. He uses a story form to talk about it's a factory, right? And it's this factory, and the factory is has really smart people. The factory but the factory's losing money, right? And they cannot figure out what's happening. And the factory's about to close. This guy's about to lose his job. He's working 15 hours, 16 hours a day. So it's not for the fact that people aren't working. It's not for the fact that the manager isn't putting in the time. It's not that he's not seeking help. He's got talented people. But for some reason, right, this plant is just flat out losing money. And then, and again, I really want to encourage you to read the book if you get a chance. It's called The Goal. And so the manager, he knew something is wrong, right? Intuitively, he knew something was not right. He couldn't figure out, well, we're doing all this stuff right? We're making all the right moves, yet the factory's still losing money. And what would happen is he'd always run out of time before some crisis would happen. So some crisis would happen, and the factory wouldn't have time to fix it. They were always late delivering orders. They were always late getting paid. They were always, and so as a result, they never had the cash to do what they needed to do, and they were losing money. So that's just kind of a general overview of what was happening in this book. And the book is telling this story about this plant. Okay, so I want to tell you why this is relevant to internet marketing, right? So what about all that? Why is all that relevant to internet marketing? And why do I say you probably don't have shiny objects and you probably don't have information overload? I was reintroduced to this theory by Dr. Lisa Lang. And Dr. Lisa Lang came to an internet marketing conference in Atlanta in 2009, right? And this is really when I kind of adopted it as my own business philosophy. I had been involved in internet marketing, but I started to try to understand it. And this is when I kind of adopted it and decided, okay, this is sort of how I want to run my business, or freelancing, and run my life, right? So she gave a talk on making a mafia offer, right? This is what Dr. Lang talked about at Stompernet. And she is a student of the theory of constraint. She is a student of Dr. Goldratt. So she understands everything that went into the theory of the goal. And she said, basically, to the internet marketers, and it was amazing because a lot of internet marketers kind of tuned her out at that point. I mean, she had my rapt attention at that point. And she said, basically, what you got to do is you got to be able to find a market. You've got to be able to find what they want, right? And then you got to change your capabilities in order to meet it. And so I think that was kind of where she lost people, because capabilities is kind of like not a tangible word. What does that mean? Change your capabilities to meet it. So in other words, let me restate that. You find the market. Most of us know where the market is, especially in the make money online niche. You find out what they want, right? And that's really not even a mystery. I mean, you can go to Google, you can go to Amazon, you can see what people are buying and what they want. And in some cases, you can even talk to people. So the question is, how do you change your capabilities in order to meet the need that they want? And so she said that once you figure out how to change your capability and what you're able to do, you make an offer that can't be refused, right? So again, I realize this is that's still a little intangible, but I'm going to get to why this matters to internet marketing here in a minute. And here's the key, right? And here is kind of what keeps most of us kind of feeling as if we are doing information overload, when really we're not, right? And the fact of the matter is that it is not only human nature, but it is what all businesses do at some point. They focus on intermediate goals, and the fact of the matter is, we focus on intermediate goals because those intermediate goals are supposed to lead to success, right? They're supposed to lead to success, and they don't always. And so I'll show you what I mean here in a minute. So what do I mean by intermediate goals? What do I mean by that? Well, Traffic is an intermediate step, right? How many of you all have focused at some point on how do I get traffic, right? For whatever reason, either you took a course or you bought an information product or you decided, okay, I've got to figure out how to get traffic. And traffic in and of itself is great. The fact of the matter is that it's an intermediate step, right? It's not the goal. And sometimes what happens is you and I can buy a software package, or we can buy a course, or we can get involved in coaching, and traffic is the result of that. But the fact of the matter is it's an intermediate step and not the goal. And so we finish the course and we're able to get traffic, and it doesn't necessarily lead to profit. And we kind of leave that course feeling like, well, man, I did everything this is supposed to do, just like the plant in the story. I did everything. I used the software the way they said to use it, and I still don't have money in my PayPal account. How many of y'all have ever had that experience? You get the software, you use it, you go through the course, you do what's told, you walk through the steps, and then for some reason, right, you've done everything. I mean, everything to the letter, and somehow or another, there's still no money coming into your PayPal account or whatever, your bank account. Okay, and so this is kind of what makes people feel like, well, I got to move on and I got to do something else because this isn't working. And it's not the fact that it's not working; it's just the fact that it's an intermediate step and not the goal, right? So again, so the fact that is not that you're scatterbrained. The fact is that you learned something that's necessary. It's just not the goal of what it is, right? So leads, right? So the money is in the list. Right. So build my list. I need a big, huge, ginormous list. And thankfully, marketers are starting to talk about this now. Right. Even some of the gurus are starting to talk about this. And it's a good thing because you don't have to have a huge list. Right. You don't have to have a list of a gazillion people. Now, if you got that, it's great. Right. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm saying that in order to accomplish whatever the goal is, right? It's an intermediate step. It's not the goal. Is everybody with me? So if you understand what I'm saying so far, please put the number 3 in the question box. Right? If you understand what I mean by traffic is an intermediate step, not the goal. Leads are intermediate step and not the goal, even though they're good things. If you understand what I mean, please put the number 3 in the question box. You understand what I mean. Okay, so what do I mean? So let's go forward. So in every business, right? Every business, this is you, me, whether you're in a partnership or whether you're not. You have some stuff you can do, right? You have some stuff that you can do that you can put your hands on. You can do something and you can affect and make things different. That's your capability. But you also have constraints. There's a limit to what you can do, right? So in other words, you have all the stuff that you can do extremely well. But the fact of the matter is you can be limited by something, right? You can be limited by the fact that you don't have enough capital, right? You can be limited by the fact that you don't have enough time. You can be constrained by the fact that you might not have the knowledge, right? Or you might not have somebody on your team who has the knowledge, or you might not have a team at all, right? You are constrained in some way, even though you have these things you're capable of doing, right? All of us probably recognize market opportunities. We have these capabilities to meet that market, but we have these constraints that we're up against, right? So now, okay, so here's the key to what I want to make clear to you. If you get this, it's going to make a difference to you. If you focus on the right steps, it'll lead you to the right goal. And so what do I mean by the right goal? Right? What is the right goal? Is the right goal I want to make more money online? Right? So here's what you have to understand. I want you to understand the last 2 points really, 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 truly. Okay? Focusing on the right steps will lead you to the right goal. Now, is your goal, and this is just for an example, is it $3,000 monthly, or is the goal $3,000 monthly profit with a maximum input of 10 hours weekly? And so the fact of the matter is this, that it's overstated, but you have to be clear on what exactly the goal is. You have to be clear on exactly what that is, right? Because again, if you're not clear about that, if you just say, well, you know what, I'll just start making money online and then I'll change it, what's going to happen is you will continue to buy the wrong software. You will continue to buy the wrong courses. You will continue to buy the wrong things. You'll continue to get involved in the wrong coaching programs, right? And again, I know I'm not supposed to say anything negative to you. That's what marketers are not supposed to do that, but it's just the truth. I believe in the theory of constraints, and it does make a difference. You have to be clear on what the goal is, right? So what is the goal for you? What is the goal for your business? And even still, that goal has to be time constrained. So is the goal to be at $3,000 monthly profit with a maximum input of 10 hours weekly in 90 days, right? If you're not clear about that, you will not buy the right things, right? And you have to spend money to make money in this. You either have to spend time or money, and if you got both, great. But spending more money doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get more results. Spending more time doesn't get more results. And that's the dilemma that most of us are in. I spent the money. I spent more money on this and it didn't get better. I spent hour after hour after hour, but it didn't get better. How many of you all have had that experience where you throw a lot of time at something, right? You focus and the time that you put in doesn't seem as if it's giving you the results. Or you focus on throwing money at a situation by buying the software and it doesn't seem to change the situation, right? And that was the same dilemma that was going on in the plant and the goal. That's why this made sense to me. That's the same thing, except they were talking about factories. They went out and bought some really, really cool piece of machinery that they put on the floor, and they just started running more shifts of people. And they thought that if we just have more people working longer and we have the coolest software, that somehow or another we'd be able to figure out what's happening and we'll stop losing money as a plant. Right? But the problem wasn't the plant. The problem was they were focused on intermediate goals and they weren't clear on the end goal. So that even when they chose an intermediate step, the intermediate step didn't get them to the goal that they wanted. Right? Here's my question. And be honest. Right? Be honest right now. And if you don't want to write it in, just write it in private to me. Right? And I'm the only one who can see your answers. Or if you don't want to write it in, write it in. I want to ask you a question. The next to last statement, I'm going to go backwards here. Okay? Is your goal defined as such? $3,000 monthly, or whatever it is, X number of dollars monthly or daily. Or is it defined as X number of dollars monthly or daily with a maximum input of 10 hours weekly in the next X number of days? Okay, so have you defined your goal by the latter or the former? Because again, that is really the most important thing. Because if you understand how your goal fits into what you buy, you will then start to focus on getting the right things, right? Getting the right things. Because the truth of the matter is, a landing page builder is great. Will it get you toward the latter goal? It might get you toward the former goal. The fact of the matter is, though, but if you don't have it clearly defined, you're going to get to the former goal. It's just going to take you a long time to get there, right? And a lot of trial and error. And so the way you eliminate a lot of trial and error is to define what it is you're trying to get by the latter way that I've stated the goal, right? $3,000 monthly profit with a maximum input of 10 hours weekly in the next 90 days, right? So that is really how it's almost like if you and I, we don't define the goal in those terms, we're going to end up making the wrong decisions because we're focusing on taking the wrong steps, because the steps are going to lead to a goal that isn't clearly defined. Right? So again, I want to come back to this. You have to be You have to be seriously clear on the latter goal. You have to be seriously clear on how you're going to do it, right? And you can't even determine the how until you determine the what, right? And now, I tell you this because it focuses on how you get it, right? This is how you determine the how. If you feel like based on your capability, you need to do CPA marketing, then do CPA marketing in order to get to the goal, right? If the goal is that, if you feel like you can do it by offline marketing, do offline marketing. If you feel like you can do it by selling digital products in the weight loss niche, do it that way. And so if your goal is not clear, then it's hard to develop steps. And if your steps aren't clear, it's hard to figure out what to buy, and it's hard to figure out where to spend your time. That's why I'm telling you that you don't have information overload, right? You don't have shiny object syndrome. What you're trying to do is you're trying to solve a problem that may or may not exist. And so when you actually solve it, or you get to that point, it's not yet quite solved. So you go back and buy something else, or you throw more time in the situation and it doesn't change. Right. So now, and here's my conclusion, right? The question isn't how can I make money online? That's the wrong question. That's not the question. How do I make money online? How do I get started making money online? That's not the question. The question is, what is the goal? Right? And so what is the goal? What is the goal? What is the goal? That is the question. And again, it seems simplistic, but it is the truth. You have to decide on what the goal is. What is the goal? Is it $3,000 monthly? Okay, with 10 hours put in a week, right? Accomplished in 90 days, or 50 days, or 70 days, or whatever the case is. And basing that on the capabilities that you have, you then remember what Dr. Lang said back in 2009 is what you have to do then is you go and change your capabilities, right? In order to meet the goal. So in other words, what do I have to learn in order to get to the goal? Not do I need to learn traffic, right? Not do I need to generate leads? What do I need to get to the goal? What do I need to learn to get to the goal? And so you then start to seek the things. And listen, if you have to pay more because you didn't get it during a launch price, that doesn't matter. Right? That doesn't matter if you get it off the launch price. It's not important. What's important is that you get what you need to accomplish the goal. Right? You get what you need to accomplish the goal. Now, okay, so what are the steps? Right? So you have to answer, what are the steps to get to the goal? What are my capabilities? If you don't have the money right now for paid advertising, right, then CPA marketing might not be your thing. That might not be the way you're going to get to the goal. If you're not going to be good at creating products, right, then that might not be your thing, right? So you've got to determine what your capabilities are. Before you can even determine the steps and the goal. Then, how are you constrained? So the fact of the matter is, you might be good at creating videos. You might be, you might have a lot of knowledge on a subject matter, but your constraints are, you might have to work full time, or you might have an aging parent, or you might have to have kids that you transport. So those are your constraints. So the problem isn't that you didn't get the right software. The problem is that you haven't worked on the constraints, eliminated them, so that you can use your capabilities, right? So again, if you use this really simple grid for how to determine, right, how to create the right goals, and then how then you spend your money and your time to get rid of, now, your constraints in the book. In the book, the constraints are called bottlenecks, right? So every plant has bottlenecks. They have these things that are getting in their way of being able to get through the goal so they can accomplish the goal for the plant, right? Because the plant was meeting these goals, but they weren't making money until they decided that, okay, you know what, the goal of the plant is not to be efficient. It's not to have the least amount of hours employees work. The goal is to be profitable, right? And when they began to focus on the right goal and be clear about what that profit meant, what that meant in dollars and cents, that is when they start to turn the plan around, and it'll turn your business around too when you start to think like that. Now, I'll tell you something else here. And I do want to tell you about this, and here's why I'm going to get into the tracking plugin here. It's not a sexy thing, right? So it's not cool software. I will say that, but it does what it should, and what it does is going to help you to track where you are, right? So if you don't understand what's happening in your online business, you don't understand where the traffic's coming from, right? The way that you operate in the theory of constraints is this. This is what kind of the way you kind of process this. In God we trust. Everybody else has to have data, right? So just because somebody says something doesn't mean anything, but you need data, right? And so the only way you really know anything is you have to test it. You don't know what the market wants until you test it, right? You don't know what the market doesn't want until you test it. And so you need data. And so until you get data, right, you don't know what the market wants. And so you have to be testing, you have to be trying things. But at the same time, though, if you're not tracking it, you can't tell what's happening. And you need to have your own reliable results. You need to know where traffic is coming from, and you need to know what happens when you make adjustments. Okay, and that is why I'm saying to you that this thing that Paul, again, it's not one of these miracle. It's not one of these miracle plugins. It's not one of these miracle software packages. And again, nothing wrong with those. But most of you who come to these calls, you're trying to build a business based on facts. You're trying to build a business based on what you understand, on your capabilities, and you have to understand at a root level what's happening in your business. And the way that I look at this is this. If you were selling office supplies, you'd need an office, you'd need some infrastructure, you'd need some stuff in your office so that you'd be able to meet the customer. And this is one of these foundational things that you need. Again, it's not going to do I mean, it's not going to do backflips for you. It does do the stuff you're supposed to have. It's the information you need that you need to know in order before you decide on doing a split test. Okay, so that's what I will kind of say to you. So I've left you some resources there. The tracking plugin, I think that goes away on the 20th. Remember, if you didn't get my email today, for those of you who are into Father's Day, I do have a series of interviews. It's just something a little different that I did. And I think you'll like it if you have something and you want to give it to your Father's Day entrepreneur. Check that out. And then I do have a PLR package coming up, and it's going to be an offline workshop for online business. So how do you take your offline business offline? Now, for those of you who are involved in the Ultimate Insider Coaching, you will not have to buy that course. That course is going to be part of the coaching program, right? So I'm just going to put that course in there. For everybody else, I think that course is going to be available to you next week. I had hoped that it was going to be available Monday. I probably won't be ready at that point, but it is going to be a great course, especially for those of you. And I've been talking about this a lot, that you can actually take your online business offline. And I'm not talking about consulting, right? Even though every time I go out and I do this, I always meet people who want me to consult with them. So I mean, I think it was Wednesday. I just literally turn people down, right? So when you figure out how when I show you how to do the workshop and you actually take this course, whether or not you decide to resell it or you decide to use it, it's going to be great information. But once again, again, it's available. It's going to be available for those of folks who already are inside of the coaching program. I'm just going to add this to your membership this month. All right. So any other questions? Any other questions? Any questions about anything that I did not cover? Let me turn my camera off here. Hey, any questions? Okay, well, if there are no questions, um, once again, take a look at the handout. Make sure that you get the replay, and that you can use it in a way that you see fit. Once again, now, if you are part of the Ultimate Insider, you can actually take this content and you can actually use this in your business. So those of you who are part of Ultimate Insider, I will give you rights to the recording. I'll also give you rights to the slides. So again, I want to encourage you to join the coaching program. I can't answer all the questions that you might have here. I can't answer them on the coaching program. Thank you, Dana. I'm David. I'm glad that was for you. I'm glad it was that. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you very much for being here. Have a great night. Pleasant tomorrow. Take care.